Hi Michael, it's just tell us what's the plan to handle Barisic's return from Croatia, and also do you have any updates on injuries or suspensions for that I can get?
In terms of Borna, they was back home in Croatia yesterday. I think they had a parade, another one into today as well, which is obviously worthy of the achievement they had as a small country. I thought they were fantastic in the World Cup, so we're hoping he'll be back for the Motherwell game, making sure that he's fine and can get back in the country and is fit and healthy. So that's the plan at the moment with him. In terms of injuries, nothing really to report from the game the other day. We've sent Stephen Davis for a scan to a slight issue. Well, we hope it's a slight issue and we'll see. So he was the only player that won't travel tomorrow, along with obviously Kamar Roof compared to the ones that have been training. But everybody else, Connor Goldson will come back into the squad tomorrow.
We saw how Aberdeen played against Celtic at the weekend. It was obviously very defensive. Are you expecting a similar performance from them?
I'm unsure, to be honest. You know, you try to prepare your team for everything. I watched the game. I thought both Aberdeen and Celtic played in a good game. I thought you saw all the sort of patience and the work that Ange has been doing with Celtic in the last year in terms of how they played the game and how they were patient. And I thought you saw an Aberdeen team that had a game plan and were close to executing it. There was a few close moments in the game where they were lucky not to concede. It's whether Jim thinks that's the way to go against us. I was at the game at Ibrox, 6-7 weeks ago. And obviously we played very well in that game. And so you're unsure, you just prepare your team for everything you can. I've been up there and had some feisty encounters in the past, but it's two new managers in that. Obviously that was Stephen and Derek, and they were fantastic games. I thought they were everything that was good about Scottish football. So I'm enjoying going up there, or will enjoy going up there, because I think it's a good game.
Could well be a good test of the attacking credentials of your side.
Yeah, because you see where we're at. You know, we're going to have to maybe use everybody that we've got in the squad in terms of finding a solution to open the door. I'm not going to give you any secrets right now, but I think the way we played the second half the other day will create chances against every team in this league. So it's important we start where we left off on Thursday, because I was pleased with the second half in particular.
Just finally for me, is Antonio Cholak available for this game?
No, he will be available on Friday though.
Michael, can I just cast your mind back to the opening game of the title winning season, obviously at Pittodrie? That seemed like a massive, momentum builder in that season. Is that the sort of thing that this squad, it could be the same for this squad in terms of that mentality and building it?
That team was able to keep clean sheets, and I think that's going to be crucial. You know, on Thursday of last week we had 5 senior centre backs missing, 2 senior left backs, so I was delighted. Going into the game, you knew that not everything was going to be perfect. I didn't think we'd concede on the very first ball into the box, but that team was able to keep clean sheets consistently. I think after that game it went 7 or 8 without conceding. This team needs to have that as well. It needs to know how to grind it out and win ugly at times. I thought that wasn't a fantastic game that day, but obviously it was a great win to start the season off. Good goal from Ryan Kent. So yeah, it's important. We need to improve defensively, and then obviously within our style, I think that will come even more over time.
You mentioned Ryan Kent. I know we spoke a lot about his contract in recent weeks, but sometimes players come into their peak years of their career, talk about a fit, being at a club or a coach. Yourself and Ryan Kent go back a long way. Do you feel that he's a good fit for you, perfect fit for each other in terms of his career?
Yeah, he might be sick of me because he's known me since he's 14, and he probably thinks, who's this guy coming back in again? But no, on a personal level, it's nice to work with Ryan. He's the sort of player that I like. Very two-footed. He's actually someone that you'd actually say to your academy players like Yanis Hadji to watch, because very two-footed, can go both ways. I like him to be a bit more free. I think that's fair to say. I don't like him playing on one side of the pitch. I like him to have the licence to roam, and you're right, he's coming into his best years, and let's hope that those years are here at Rangers.
Michael, you spoke a lot about not adapting as much to teams, trying to imprint yourselves on the opposition. Aberdeen away, that's a great test to presumably do that, because it's normally such a difficult game when you're going away up there.
Yeah, I think it's important that we just continue with our identity. I thought first half the other night you saw an anxious team, an anxious crowd, which will happen when you concede so early and then concede straight after scoring yourself. So at half time it was important that we just focused on trying to play in the identity that we discussed and we've been training, and we did that second half. And I think at this moment in time for us, that's the most important thing, to try and get performance happy. I think that will double up with the results. I certainly don't just want to go all for the result and no style or substance, because I think over a while we might get tripped up with that. It's important we get to the style that we want as quickly as possible.
Can I ask you about Steve Davis' problem?
It was just a landing in training, so he's just gone to have a scan. I don't really want to elaborate on that. Let's wait and see where we are when we get the results today.
Jim Goodwin came in for a lot of criticism for his defensive display, Aberdeen's defensive display. Do you think that makes Bounce into being more proactive against Rangers?
I hope so, because that might leave us with some more spaces, but obviously that's Jim's prerogative. One thing I would say is, the one thing I loved about this league the last time I was here and when I came back to the league is the managers in Scotland, none of us get the ready-made players. So whether that's Ange, whether that's myself, we obviously are more haves than have-nots, but the other clubs rarely buy players and none of us buy the ready-made product. So the managers in Scotland, I think that's why there's so many good Scottish managers. You have to work with the players that you've got week in, week out, and you have to develop them. I think this season Aberdeen under Jim have been moving in the right direction. They've got young player that I know from Liverpool, Leighton Clarkson, who's a good young player, and I think that they've, the boy Duke, who's come in from Portugal, has done well and all. So I've seen a difference in their style in the short time I've seen them play, and whether he feels that it's the right tactics to go that way again or to open up a little bit, that's down to Jim. We'll just be ready to react off the back of that.
You spoke there about the importance of clean sheets for this team. Is that something you've been really focusing on with the players, albeit with a number of defenders out? Is this really what you're looking at the moment?
Well, the other day we didn't have to defend in open play. We had to defend from a set play, which we fouled at the start, and it's been a bit of a problem for the team, I think, for the last few months. And then off a counter-attacks, we had problems, and they're two areas that we have to be good at if we're going to be a possession-based team, because certainly if you're going to put the amount of players in front of the ball that we do, we can't have sloppy turnovers. We need to be very good in our counter-pressing and in transition, and on set plays we need to stand up and be big and take responsibility. We got caught out with that in the first 15-20 minutes on Thursday night, but we improved in the second half. So I'm not going to beat him on the head. We've had a chat about it and we have to keep improving.
We've spoken to Leon King there. Is he somebody you feel can really help contribute to that defensive effort?
Yeah, any one of that five of Goldson, Davis, King, Suter, Halander would have helped. Obviously Borna or Ridvan. The other day we were playing two centre midfielders at centre back and a young left back making his league debut at left back who's a right back. So going into the game, everyone's aware that that's not a Rangers back four, if you like, but those boys went out and played. What I would say is probably as the game went on, having centre midfielders at centre back actually helped us in terms of our build up and our speed of possession in the second half. So I was pleased with that. I'm happy to say that I will have centre backs in the team tomorrow.
Hi Nicholas, you spoke about the character of the team and the resilience after the Hibs game. How important is that going to be to keep that involved in the squad when you look at the amount of fixtures on the calendar coming up?
Yeah, well, it's a mentality week. We've got the two longest journeys in Scottish football back to back in 3 days before Christmas. So it's an interesting fixture list. I know this game was obviously moved. I think we go away from home and you have to show something slightly different to what you have to at Ibrox. Maybe teams are a little bit more open. Their fans push them to come and attack you. I actually think that they give us great opportunities when that happens. Both Jim and Malky are two coaches, and I'm quite friendly with Malky as well. So I expect two really tough games, but one game at a time, this first one. And as I say, we need to start off where we ended the game on Thursday night.
Michael, you talk about mentality, and obviously Conor Bolt's back of the squad. It's how crucial his leadership qualities be for your side as we enter the second half of the season.
Well, he's a strong voice as well. I think we all saw that in the season when there was no fans in the stadium. All you could hear was Conor moaning, but that's actually quite a good thing because he gives some personality to the team. Football teams now in general are quiet. He's someone that in probably the last 250 or 260 games for the club has nearly played 99% of them. So when you have a player so consistent in terms of selection, when you lose him for 4 or 5 games, it does rock the squad, especially when the other centre-half has changed so much. The left-side centre-half has not been as consistent in the same time. So we're delighted to have him back in the squad. Whether him and Ben are able to go full tilt for 90 minutes, we'll have to see. And then we have the game on Friday coming thick and fast. My focus at the minute is 2 things really. It's to give the team real clarity on how we want to play, to make us hard to beat and also good with the ball. But also it's to recover the the injuries that we have, because it's in my 3.5 years here previously, we never had a situation like this. I think last week we probably had an 11 unavailable as strong as the 11 we had on the pitch. Now, if they're all available, it makes a strong Rangers here in training and then into the games. But at the moment, you would say we're more vulnerable than what we have been in many a year.
So how much confidence does that give you when they're all back in the second half of the season that you can reel it in terms of the top of the table?
Huge amounts. And listen, the other day I used the term other team. Listen, you know, I'm new back into the country, lads. I didn't get where I am being disrespectful to anybody. I was asked a question, you're 9 points behind, and my answer was, well, we have to win and the other team has to lose some. That wasn't in any way disrespectful. I want to cut that short where that is. I've got no issue with naming the other team's names, Celtic, Aberdeen, Hibs, whoever it is. No way am I ever going to be disrespectful. Between now and the end of the season, we have to win every game, including 3 Old Firms, and pick up the goal difference to get in front. So we know it's a tough ask. So the bigger thing around that as well is, can we get the team playing and looking how I think football should look? Can it look together? Can the players look like they're happy playing for the shirt? Are they together? And are the fans having the team? When they watch their team play, are they excited by their team? Are they pulling in the same direction? Is there alignment right the way through the club? That's the job for me and my management team. But that bit the other day, I don't like that, because it's not what I am. So in that comment, that was a very innocent comment that's been taken too far. I'm a coach that respects come back into this league because I enjoy it. I think there's very good managers in this league. I think, as I said, no one in this league gets to buy a ready-made player. Everybody in this league has to have a development plan. I think what Ange Postecoglou has done in his time is very impressive. It's important now we get back on the journey that I had here previously with Stephen, and we become impressive again as well.
You mentioned the injuries you've had, and you've not seen anything like it when you were previously here at Rangers. Is that just put down to bad luck, do you think, or is that something that you've looked into to see whether there is a deeper problem as to why there are so many injuries at the club at the moment? There's
been a lot of change in staff. So obviously there's been a lot of change in the management team, from the previous manager to the one to Gio that's moved, and me coming in. There's been changes in the medical department, there's been changes in players coming in. All of that probably tells you that, you know, you need to get to know each other's body. There needs to be a consistency of training, and then around that there's just elements of bad luck which happen in terms of contact injuries. But the more consistent everything is around the players in terms of training and staff, then I think that will even its way out. And that's certainly what I'm hoping going into the new year, and certainly will be healthy around the next international break. I'm hoping that we've got every player fit and available, and then we can really judge where this squad's at. Until then, we know our mentality's got to be top. We've got to fight for every game, every 3 points, and we have to take the weight of the shirt with a big smile on our face, and the privilege that it is.
Hi, good afternoon, Michael. Just wanted to ask, you mentioned about getting the players up to speed and getting them into your studio as quickly as possible, but you also mentioned last week after the Hibs game that you maybe got away with some defensive selections, etc. I wonder, just where are the players and where is the team for you at this moment? Are they where they should be, and how do you rate the progress towards getting where you want them to be at this point?
Probably 45 minutes in, if I'm honest. There was a lot of the first half that made me realise, okay, there's a lot of work we got to do. The Bayer Leverkusen game was a nice game, but what I found in that first half the other night, it was very false. So therefore, the biggest thing that I was pleased with was the ability to take on board the information at half-time, and the fact that we were the stronger team in the second half. We looked like the fitter and stronger team as well as the game went on. And so, yeah, I think where we are at the moment is we're 45 minutes into a long, long journey. I'm going to try and make it up as quick as I can. The players are really eager to take on the ideas as quick as they can, but we have to just keep every 3 days, and we've got 2 games in the next 4 or 5, so let's see how we get on away at Aberdeen. We need to make sure that if we're not our free-flowing best, we show other qualities in terms of being able to keep clean sheets and to win ugly at times. But for me, the key thing is the time on the training pitch. That's not coming until after the New Year schedule. So until then, it's about conversations and just remotivating the team to go out there. But we're really looking forward to this week. I think it's a really it's a big week where eyes are going to be on us, so it's a great opportunity for us to make sure that we impress people and not keep the questions coming in the background.
Sorry, Michael, I feel like I'm asking for an injury update every time we speak, but just on regards to Yanis Hadji, you said he was back in slight training. Is it fair to expect maybe him being able to return to full training towards the end of January time? And what kind of role do you see him playing in your team?
He'll play a big role when he's fit. He's a player I have a lot of belief in. I think he's a very, very good player in this league. I would say mid to back end of January. He's in light training with the group, unopposed at the moment, doing a lot of work in isolation in terms of building his fitness a year out. There's a lot of muscle loss and things like that he has to go through returning. So we're just delighted. It's great for the group that he's out there and just on the side of possessions or taking part in passing drills. He's a boy that's very well liked in the group. And if we can get him back sort of back end of January, start of February, we'd be delighted because he'll be available for the last 15 to 18 games of the season.